The Gi Spot. I'd hit that.
Welcome to the Gi Spot podcast. My name's Rachel Bradshaw and I'm a black belt in Jiu Jitsu.
Hi, I'm Kaz Page and I'm a purple belt in Jiu Jitsu and I'm still having a panic attack because you just loaded me with something that I just don't know how to cope with right now.
I know, I'm sorry. I should have given you more warning, but we are here. We are in studio.
I can't breathe.
And I've told you today is going to be a G-rated episode.
I know. It means I can't say my word. You just wanted to have an episode where I can't say my word.
Yes, it makes my job easier at the end.
All right, well, for all those that really enjoy the fact that I say a particular word on a run every episode, I just want you to all to know that Rach broke it.
I know, I'm sorry.
All right.
It's like a snap streak or something. I don't know. I don't have Snapchat,
I don't either, but you know what? I was on a streak, so okay. All right. Well, all right. All I can say up front is I'm sorry. I'm going to do my very best to make this G-rated. You can tell what my family life's like.
Yeah.
Right? No, look, I'm already tripping over my words.
And you never do that. That's me.
I know, but you've told me I have to behave.
And look how calm and relaxed I am today.
Because you behave.
Because I know that what to expect now.
It's easy for you. Oh, Lord.
How have you been?
Okay, Retro, you go first.
How have I been? I don't know.
Good week?
Good week, but it hasn't.
We're thrown off because it's a Saturday.
Yeah, we are. We're actually recording this sort of midweek for us.
Midweek for us, out of whack on a weekend, in our casuals.
Yeah.
So it's a bit out of sorts.
Yeah, so I feel like not a lot has happened.
No, not since the last Retro, which will probably come out like the week before this. But that's okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that's okay.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. I'm doing okay. Well, no, I was good.
Until I told you it's G-rated.
Why is it G-rated?
Because we have two very special guests on our podcast today.
One that doesn't swear and one that swears like a trooper, and I'll let those people work out which is which.
And yes, and we also told them that it's going to be G-rated too.
Which will be easy for one and a struggle for the other. And again, you all can figure out which is which.
Now, these two people on our podcast today, we talk about these two people quite often.
All the time.
And we've just found out that neither of them have ever listened to an episode.
I know. See, that's another thing that just flustered me.
I know. That broke my heart a little bit too.
Yeah, see, because we're really good.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Hi, guys.
Look, so without further ado, let's introduce them, right? So this is going to be a lot of fun today. I'm really, really excited. So opposite me, I have my eldest son, Connor.
Yes.
And opposite you, we have your beautiful youngest daughter, Adelaide.
I didn't get it beautiful.
You are my handsome eldest son. So we've got the eldest and the youngest. Yeah.
Out of two. So the reason, just a bit of backstory on this, we talk a lot about our two families being very jiu-jitsu oriented. Obviously, we wouldn't be here if we weren't, right?
Yes.
And the journey has been different for both of us and very similar for both of us, but our family has been a part of it since day one.
Absolutely.
And so we just thought it would be a really cool treat to bring the youngest of the two families and the eldest of the two families to give some perspective on what happens in your journey in regards to being a part of our families and being a part of the Jiu-Jitsu crew. So welcome both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're look, they're both shy and so sweet and innocent. It's very cute. It's going to
really
be so hard to tell which one's the swearer of the two.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, burn mum, day one. Well done.
I think that just gave it away.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, pretty quickly too. So, Addy, we'll start with you, sweetheart. Tell me, how old were you when you started Jiu-Jitsu? Do you remember?
No, not
Well, how long have you been doing it?
8 years.
How old are you?
11.
Want to do the maths?
So when I was 3.
You were 4.
4.
Yeah. Yeah. So you kicked in when you were 4. Your other two sisters, you joined your other two sisters on the mat. So you've pretty much been in it since, you were really tiny tot.
That's pretty much the earliest you can start at most academies.
Yeah.
So well done, you.
And I
Not
got
that
it-
you had a choice about it at the time, I'm sure.
thrown in. But it was very cute because, geese come really small, right? But just not quite small enough. And so Addy had it rolled up 3 or 4 times up the sleeves, 3 or 4 times up the legs. The belt probably ran around 12 times. And then, this little thing gets on the mats and waddles over and... for at least the first couple of years, paid absolutely no attention, just wanted to have fun and spent a lot of time going, wee!
And that's what it's all about.
That's it.
I think coaches out there doing kids programs where they just take it too seriously at 4 years old need to have a rethink, quite frankly.
Absolutely. How about you? When did you join?
4 as well.
Oh, cool. So you were one of those little kids too with the geese rolled up 1,000
and
times?
not paying attention and just like, wee! Yeah, that was me.
This is why you two get along so well, isn't it?
Just don't have any thoughts. It's just, wee!
So you've been on the mats a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So tell us just a little. Yeah, well,
Just a smidge.
Just a little bit.
so how old are you both? How old?
I'm 11.
You're 11?
I'm 18.
Okay. So, Connor, let's go over to you for a second.
Yep.
What's your earliest memory of joining Jiu Jitsu?
Oh, there was one time we were leaving training and I got my finger caught in the door of the car.
Ouch.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to do with jiu-jitsu. It's just we were leaving out of training and I hurt my fingy. So dad had to run back inside, grab an ice pack and
Was that when you were up in Newcastle?
No, we were training at Erina at the
Okay.
time.
All right. So it wasn't too bad a journey home at
No,
that
but
point.
I was little.
And it hurt a lot. Yeah. Fair enough. Do you remember the scream on the way home?
Not at all.
No,
Blanked out?
You weren't there. I
No,
don't think.
There
okay.
was a time that it was Grant and Connor because I was home with Flynn.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't start training again till Flynn started.
Yeah.
So Grant would be father and son off for their little jiu-jitsu and then Connor would have his class, you would have your class, Grant would do his class, and Connor would run around or sit or not probably sit for very long, and then they'd come home.
You and Dad, you pretty much started with Dad and your 2 sisters, and very similar to you too. I wasn't on the mats when the girls started. It wasn't until maybe a year in that Scarlett came home and went, Mum, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you here? I would turn up and drop them off and pick them up, or I'd watch their classes and then leave Matt to train and, bring the kids home and whatnot. But I wasn't in amongst it and a part of it at all at that point. Was jiu-jitsu kind of mandatory for you through your upbringing, or did your parents give you the option?
Well, I started out and it was just like when you're 4, you don't get much to say.
Yeah.
That's
fair.
I took a bit of a break at one point, I think.
Yeah.
Like 6 months, a year or something like that.
I feel like Connor we didn't really push it super hard with him when we first started, and he sort of did it for a little bit and then didn't want to do it at 4.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay. And it was easy for Grant because then he'd leave both kids at home with me and just go to his training. And then, so I feel like there was a little period in that first year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that how you remember it?
Yeah, first or second, I can't remember exactly what it was, but we got back into it, and then after that, it was just jiu-jitsu. That's about it. Just jiu-jitsu.
And what about you, Addy? Have you ever had a choice not to train?
No.
How does that feel?
I don't mind it. I liked it. I guess when I was little, like Connor said, I didn't have much of a, say about it. But also I didn't pay much attention. And I would always look over and always blamed it on when I hit my head when I was little.
What do you mean?
So when I was never paying attention when they would give out the techniques and stuff,
Oh, yeah?
I would forget. I wouldn't know what we were doing. And so I'd raise my hand and I'd ask the coach to come over and be like, I forgot what we were doing because I hit my head when I was little.
And you're so cute. So everybody just buys your fluff.
Story.
See how good I am?
Poor kid, she's got brain damage. We need to tell her again because she hit her head once.
I needed that excuse. I just said, I wasn't watching.
You're honest. So tell me, what do you like about jiu-jitsu, Addy?
I like that it gives me something to do instead of just sitting on my phone and not doing anything. And I get to meet really amazing people, and it's fun, and I learn so much other stuff, like self-defense, and I'm active, and it's pretty fun doing
How to
all that
choke your
stuff.
sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a work in progress. Are you and your brother very competitive?
Fellini is more than I am. I think we used to compete a lot, but when we roll, we still just axe each other, or try to anyways. It's a bit hard at the moment. He's got a broken foot, so.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to stay away from the foot. Yeah, fair enough. No.
Attack the weak spot.
Oh, no.
Heel hooks all. No.
I mean, it's having an operation soon, so you may as well
Yeah.
really stuff it up.
Yeah. Now's the part where I can actually go hard. No, we're competitive with each other, but he's a bit more competitive just in general, I think.
Okay.
When I rock up to training, I'm just like, I still get that whee, just like nothing goes through the head. It's like, I've always said to mum and dad, it's like when I roll, I don't actually think very much. I just kind of do.
Yeah.
And so I'll zone out, and then I'll look at the clock. It's like 2 minutes have gone by, and all of a sudden I'm underneath the guard. I'm like, oh.
Better do something.
Yeah. How did I wind up in this predicament? Yeah.
Have to
you
do some
always liked jiu-jitsu?
It comes and goes, I think. It's, as part of a jiu-jitsu family, it's just like you always do jiu-jitsu. And there's some times when you don't feel like it, or like, because I've got other sports I play as well. Like I'll play water polo and stuff like that. And so oftentimes now when it's water polo season, I won't train as much. Like I'll only be able to get on once a week, if at all. But even when I was younger, before I had that, it was, because it was so much at one point for me. And it was just, I didn't want to do it as much. And so it was just less fun then. But it comes and goes. Like sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not. But.
You know, look, I've seen those waves. Excuse me. We don't own a school. We've never owned a gym. But we've always trained consistently as a family, and I've seen the kids go through those waves even as well, you know, and it's mandatory for our kids. I've said it every episode, our kids have to do it until they're 18, but for the most part, we haven't had to have them kicking and screaming in jiu-jitsu, drag them along for training or anything, but there have been times where you guys have just gone, I really can't be bothered, don't want to do it. And we've gone, nope, you're training, get on the mats.
Is it more of just a night, like or is it a season?
No, it's never a season. Usually it's just if something big's going on in our world outside of jiu-jitsu, and that's kind of taking the energy out of the family.
Yep.
Then the kids will get fairly fatigued.
Yep.
And jiu-jitsu is a very physical, mental thing you've got to be on. And they're like, no. And they, as kids, I don't know so much that they've learnt to slow that down when they're there, so it's give it its all.
Yep.
You know, whereas I can go in and if I'm really exhausted, then I can be there, but I can also go, I'm really only half here kind of thing, and get through the night, absorb what I can absorb, go home. Yep. Whereas I don't think the kids have necessarily learnt how to do that yet.
Now, you just said that it's mandatory for your girls.
Yes.
Assuming that we have listeners today that have dipping in on this one podcast episode, why do you have it mandatory for your girls?
Because I have 3 daughters, and when I was 14, something very unfortunate happened to me, and at 14 I didn't have the right skills to prevent it. And so having daughters, it's really important for me to know that I'm giving them every tool set I possibly can to be confident when they walk into a space, to not look like an easy target, and if something was to happen, it gives them a fighting chance. So based on that alone, jiu-jitsu is a fundamental for it's like sending the kids to school or educating children. We will educate them in the space of self-awareness, confidence, and how to protect themselves as best they can, just as much as we will educate them in English, maths and science.
Yep.
They are equal to me, equally as important.
So, Addy, Mum's obviously had this conversation with you and told you that it's mandatory for you until you're 18. How does that make you feel?
Makes me feel like I'm safe, and she wants me to be safe and not go through bad stuff. And so I am happy that she's making me do it.
Yep. So it's not like a chore or anything like that to you?
And even if she gave me the choice, I would still choose to do it because I know it's the right option.
Yep.
And that all comes down to education, right?
Yep.
That comes down to having frank, honest conversations with kids at a kid's level. You don't have to go into detail. It doesn't have to be graphic. It doesn't have to be frightening or anything like that. It just has to be honest.
Yeah.
And there has to be a level in which they'll understand and they'll be able to embrace. So I just think, there's a lot going on out in the world today and we need to give our kids at least a fighting chance. There's the other side as well. I love watching my kids. We get to an end of class and we're coming home from Jiu Jitsu and all three of my girls are 100 miles an hour. Addy will be telling me stories about Connor. Scarlett will be telling me stories about what Willow did or did not do. Willow will be telling me stories about this mad takedown that she got or whatever the case may be. They're full of life. They might be physically exhausted, but they're full of life. Like, you tell me, what are some of the fun things that happen at training for you?
Him.
All right. So
he's your coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously we're family friends as well. But what makes training fun for you? What do you get out of it? What do you enjoy about it?
I learn cool stuff. I have amazing friends that get to do it with me, and it teaches me how to do stuff better, and it's hard, but it's not punching or kicking or anything like that. So I like that too.
So what happens on the days where it's not so fun? Like, you've had a couple of roles that have been really hard or with people that you don't normally train with, and it's kind of like they've brought it to you a bit tougher. Does that get you down or does that fire you up?
A bit of both. It depends. If they're a good role and they're not trying to hurt me, then I'll be like, all right, well, that was a good one. All right, I'm going to go to the next. I'll be retired, but I know that they weren't trying to hurt me. They're just more experienced and stuff. But if it's someone who doesn't know how to do jiu-jitsu and they're kicking their arms and legs, I will be really mad. And I
So that fires you up?
Yeah.
And then what do you do? Do you get on top and punish them?
Yeah.
Guess what? That never changes.
I just hope we got a close-up of her face then, because she got so excited. Like, yes, I do. Now, you mentioned before that Connor is fun at Jits, and that brings us to, you are one of the coaches there for the kids class.
Yeah.
And I watch you all the time doing that. How much fun do you have coaching the kids?
I love it. Like, there's some days I come in and it's like, oh, this is like, some kids are just acting up or whatever, and it's just like this not great. But most of the time I walk in there, it's just great kids. It's always a fun laugh, especially because they're all like teenagers and pretty moody. Like, and I'm just there trying to cheer them up. Like Scarlett especially, I'll be like, at the start of class, I'm like, how are we today? And she'll just do like, just death stare at me and just like, okay, sorry. But no, it's just fun because they're all good kids and they're all old enough to where you can like have a joke with them, like mess around.
Yeah.
I just enjoy it. I just love it. It's a fun time.
Is it challenging?
Some days it just depends. Like some days kids have come in and they're just switched off and it doesn't matter what you say. It just goes one ear out the other. Like nothing happens. But there's other days when it's just the easiest thing in the world because you just say, do this, this, and this. And then it's like, okay, do this, this, and this. And it's like, oh, sweet. It just depends on, it's all the kids, I suppose. Like, it's as well, I should be better at like being able to manage it, but that comes with experience. And I'm still like young relatively. But yeah, it just depends on the kids at this moment, whether how they are, who's there, like that kind of thing. Like it's a community. And so it depends on everyone that's there, not just myself and my brother who run the kids classes, but the kids as well.
Yeah.
It's amazing how things like first week of term and last week of term.
And the full moon.
And the full moon.
The full moon.
We've had
It's a
not
real
only,
thing, right?
and this week we've had first week of term and a full moon and a big full moon.
Yeah.
And that the kids have been off the charts.
Like baby
it's
wolves?
well, the first couple of days they were really emotional. Like I had more tears on that mat for over nothing than what we've had for a long time. And then they were a bit fired up towards the end of the week. So it's those things are real factors, but also things like if it's been raining for a week.
Oh, yeah.
Because kids are at school and they're
cabin
like caged.
fever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
it's
caged
cabin
in
fever.
like animals. They haven't been out running, using up that energy.
Yep.
And so when they come to jiu-jitsu, which is a huge, sterile, open space, then they're like, "Rah!" and it all just comes out there, and you're like, okay, we're going to play lots of games today.
Yeah.
And that's where you become, as a coach, you become a little bit more sensitive to, okay, let's pivot. Let's do something different. So this week because I do the little kids classes, like the 4 to 8 year olds, I look after them, and then Connor and Flynn look after the 9 to 13 year olds. A little bit older, a little bit more mature kids that they can mentor.
Yep.
And also those kids are old enough to look up to Connor and Flynn and be like, these guys are cool, because they're not old people,
Yeah.
but they're also not young, so we respect them, and they're really good at jiu-jitsu. So there's all these different factors going on, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the little kids kind of need that parent figure.
Yeah. They need the mum and dad on the mat.
Yeah, so in the little kids class this week, like, we have pivoted completely, and we've done a little bit more gameplay, and only done 3 rolls instead of 4, and played a game at the end to finish it on a high note, and like, all these different things. But the older kids can be a little bit more serious because they've got that cognitive function and that self-awareness a little bit more. The boys can pull them up and go, hey guys, you guys are being a bit silly today.
enough
Come
is
on,
enough.
calm down.
So I want to go back a step. We said at the start, you're the eldest in your family, you're the youngest in our family. If you could switch places and be the eldest from a jiu-jitsu point of view on the mats, what do you think, would you swap places with Willow? And if so, why? What do you think? And if not, why wouldn't you swap places?
So if I were to with Willow, I don't really know, just because I want to see what being older and in charge feels like and stuff like that. And I'd be a lot closer to driving, but...
Oh, okay. So it's
got nothing to do with jiu-jitsu. She just wants to drive.
You guys pretty much started at the same time, right? You and Willow.
And then Scarlett joined a little bit after.
Yeah. And so Willow was a little bit older than you. Do you think that has given her an advantage in her jiu-jitsu versus your jiu-jitsu?
She is a lot stronger because she gets to train with the adults and stuff. But I feel like that's fair, and obviously I don't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
Even everyone there in the adults class is really nice and just stuff like that. So it's not a disadvantage that I'm younger. It's just that she's a lot stronger than me.
So she's 15
and
you're 11. Yeah, your time's coming, my friend.
Yeah. You'll get there. How about you? If you could swap, would you?
Nah, I'm way better than my brother. I wouldn't want to lose that skill.
I think it'd be interesting to get Flynn on next. And,
He'd say the exact same thing.
Are you stronger or is your jiu-jitsu better?
Oh, look, he wraps me around sometimes. I won't lie. I mean, not at the moment with his broken foot, because I just attack. But no, I'd say we're pretty close to even. If not, because he wrestles, he trains way more than me at the moment, especially because I've got water polo and other stuff, whereas he's like just focusing on jiu-jitsu and competing and doing all that stuff, which I don't do much anymore. And so he does towel me up every now and then, but I put him in his place.
You can still be big brother every now and then.
Yeah. So let's talk about competition for a second. You've competed a couple of times. You've competed?
Yep.
How many times have you competed?
Countless.
I'd say probably 30.
And where's all your medals?
We got a little Tupperware box.
It's funny, like kids go in and it's all about the medal.
Yeah.
But after they've done it a few times, they all go in a box together and they go on the top of the cupboard. It just doesn't mean as much anymore.
Do you know our girls competed in America once, and Scarlett got gold, and they didn't have the medal for her on the day. They were short for some reason and everything. She made me chase for nearly a year trying to get that medal sent over to Australia, and then I can't remember if we actually got it, and she's just, all her medals are just hidden somewhere in her room. It's like, why? Why did you make me work so hard?
Well, to be fair, that's probably a bit of a special one, being that it was in another country.
It's still shoved in the corner of a room, never to be seen somewhere, I'm sure of it.
I'm pretty sure it's in a shoebox or something.
Yeah, there you go. Do you like competing?
It's fun. I always get that like scared feeling before it, but then I go on and it's fun. Not when you get armbarred really aggressively though. That's not fun.
Not fun, no.
No, but it's always good because I've made a couple friends out of it. So that's also fun.
I remember one competition, you were mid-fight, and I don't know if your opponent cried or made a sound or said something, and you stopped to ask her if she was okay. Do you remember that?
Yeah, she
What
was
happened?
and just crying, and her face was really red, and I was like, "Stop! Are you okay? Just breathe. You just gotta breathe." And she was like,
And so you just talked her through and calmed her down?
"Yeah."
And you said something to her, because you didn't keep going. You were on top, but you didn't do anything.
I was asking her if she's ever won a competition before.
Mid-match.
Wait, and that was just to calm her down, just to get her mind
I
off
was just
her?
talking to her because when we were at GB, I had gone with her before and I didn't really know anything, and she just kind of smashed me. She didn't do anything. I was crying. I was doing all that kind of stuff, and she didn't do anything. She didn't check on me, and then I either could have chose to be really mean and take her down really hard, but I didn't.
Good girl.
Yeah, because I'm just better.
It was all good up until that last little point. But then you actually said to her, he's like, "I'll wait for you to be okay." Didn't you? You said something like that. And you tell me when you're ready to go and get, like, ready to restart.
Yeah, you checked with her and asked her when she was ready to go.
Yeah, because
And then you won. Yeah.
not the second one though, because that's the one where I got armbarred really aggressively.
Oh,
She was mean.
Aw. Well, it's competition, isn't
That's
it?
right. You're not there to. No, I can't
Be
say
nice.
that because I'm G-rated.
You are there. You are there to make friends.
That's not what I
Other
was going to
people
say.
aren't there to make friends. Other people are there to win. So.
I do have to say, for all your comment about you were better or whatever, you do come away from the competitions and your highlight is making friends.
Yeah. You're there for different reasons, which is really cool. I love that about you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you like winning?
Yeah.
Did you care?
No. It was good.
I want you to think back, though. I want you to think back to 9-year-old Connor and 11-year-old Connor. Not now Connor thinking back with this head on, but how did you feel at the time with competition?
No, it was always fun to win. Like you like winning.
Yeah, I saw you driving the go-karts the other day. I know that.
Winners win. No, yeah, it was fun. But then there's there comes a time it's like, oh, this is I do it now just to have fun. Just do jiu-jitsu to have fun. And so I don't really need to compete to have fun. I just have it when I go in the academy, roll around, do silly stuff. But when it was in that mindset of competing, I just go in and I'm like, okay, I'm going to win. I'm going to choke him out or armbar. I'm just going to win. And then when I won, I'd be like, yeah.
So this is probably not really a question, Addy, you can answer, but you can give it some thought. But Connor, you probably can. What has jiu-jitsu brought to your life outside of what you do on the mats and in the gym? Where do you feel you've been able to implement life lessons because of jiu-jitsu? Or even have you?
I think one of the main ones everyone says is the confidence aspect of it. Mm-hmm. But I never myself really found that, especially younger. I think now a bit more maybe, but I don't know if that's jiu-jitsu or just general life. I think it's just, I don't even know for that one actually. You've stumped me.
Yay! No.
That requires a lot of internal thought.
Yeah. Put me on the spot here.
Do you think you can make friends easier because you've been around a gym so long with new people coming and going? Do you think that when you walk into a room you might stand a little taller than, if you had have taken jiu-jitsu out of your life for the last, 14 years, what do you think might have been different about you?
I couldn't tell you because I'm a very as much as I've been saying how much better than my brother I am, I'm actually quite like laid back. I don't like being in the spotlight kind of thing. And so, and the main thing everyone says about jiu-jitsu and martial arts is, it's that confidence aspect, but I've never been in a position where it's really a big part. Like, I'll always be the one to just stand back and just listen and that. But yeah,
I don't know. I would argue that that is probably a really big part of it too, that you've not felt that you've had to get out. You know how we talk all the time about guys that don't know how to fight are the first ones to posture up and be in there and all the rest of it. The fact that you do have the confidence to just sit back and watch the world and listen and learn, I don't know. I wonder if there is a part of that.
Anyone that knows you, and I've gotten this feedback as your mum for years now, has told me how you walk around with this quiet confidence, that this presence that is just like, you don't want to mess with that person, but they're just so lovely, you know. And I think that, you know, that comes from years of stepping outside comfort zones and learning who you are and being around a community of people of all different ages and knowing how to communicate with grown adults and little kids and everything in between. That comes from that.
Yeah, I would say that when I first met you, you were quiet, but shy is not what I would have said about you, because you could hold a conversation with me as a new person. You could look at me in the eyes. You could interact with me, Matt, the kids. You adapted very quickly, and you still do. Like, we watch you on the mats with the kids, and you're a big kid. You're like Peter Pan, having a world of fun. But then you can also...
Look at that grin.
You get to an adults class and you're with the blue belts all over there having a lot of fun, because they're all about your age bracket, right? But then you can also sit around a table with all us old people. I was going to say, I'm so G-rated today.
It's so good.
I know.
I like this, Kaz.
It's a struggle.
All our regular listeners will be thrown off axis.
I know, right? My brain's, there's like 12 voices going in my head right now. But I do watch you with old people, like, you know.
Older,
older.
thank you. Let's not get too carried away.
I'm in
Thanks,
so much
Kaz.
trouble. What did that little girl say? You should be dead.
You should be dead.
That was very funny. That's another story we'll get to. How about you? Did you ever think about it? Do you think you would be different if you hadn't been doing jiu-jitsu for the last sort of 7 years?
I feel like I'd be one of those kids who's always on their phone and really rude to their parents.
Oh, no. I know your parents. I can assure you, you wouldn't have been that
really?
kid. Yeah.
Tried to be.
Yeah.
But I feel like I would definitely be on my phone a lot more and just,
What do you think, and I was asking you this earlier on today, you know, if you had the choice to go and do dance or something different, which, again, please don't shoot me down out there, parent world. It's not that we prevent our kids from doing other stuff. They're more than welcome to do other stuff. It's just that they have to do jiu-jitsu. But, you know, would you have given, if you had the choice, would you give it up for something else?
No, because other sports like dance and softball and soccer doesn't teach me any type of defense. Like there's karate, but I wouldn't stick with karate very long.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not good at that kind of stuff. I like jiu-jitsu more.
So, and for you, Connor, like what other things have you done throughout your life? Because we haven't just done jiu-jitsu for you. You've had the opportunity to do other things. So what are the other sports you've dabbled in?
So when I was young, I played a bit of footy. I was no good at all. So bad. Like if they charged me with the ball, and even with jiu-jitsu, like they're like, oh, you should be confident. If they came at me, I'd just throw the ball up in the air. Like,
I put it on the ground and step sideways.
Yeah.
It's like, there it is.
Yeah.
I remember watching you play footy, and we're talking like 5 years old, right?
Yeah.
But I remember the team playing footy and all these little boys running up and down the field, and Connor standing there in the middle of the field looking at the sky one day. Just like, what's going on up there? Chase the birdie. Like, what are you doing? Run!
Yeah. I've thought about going back to a sport like that, but like when I was young, it was just nah. I was just like la 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 la, nothing. Like when I was talking about before about the kids like being pains, I was the kid where it'd just go in one ear, out the other. It's a ball.
Yay!
Yeah. Aside from that, when I was a bit older, I think I was 13 or 14 is when I started playing water polo, and I've just stuck with it since then. And now that's my team sport that I play and enjoy most of the time anyways. But yeah.
Yeah.
What do you love about water polo?
Oh, I just enjoy playing. It's good. It keeps me fit. Same as jiu-jitsu kind of really, and it's just the social aspect of it. Like I've known all these people, whether they're my age or some of the older guys for ages now. Like I've been playing for 5 years, 6 years now. And these people I know, I go in, I play with them, I have fun, and it's just, I just enjoy it for that.
So it's the community aspect of water polo for you as well.
Yeah, same as jiu-jitsu, just that community, the social aspect of it.
And I always describe water polo as like jiu-jitsu in water.
Oh, I love a wrestle. Yeah, I play the wrestling positions in water polo because it means I get to go in and just like,
use all the techniques that you've learnt on land and take it into the water.
Yeah, when I get a heel hook on someone in the pool, it's so good.
I always say the best part about water polo is when it's what happens under the water.
Yep.
It's not stuff that you see happening on top with the ball and all of that. It's actually all the fighting that happens underneath. When you're watching the Olympics and they have the underwater cameras and they're showing like the grabs and like people half ripping swimmers off and all these kind of things. What's your position in water polo?
Historically, I've mainly played centre forward, which is where they're in front of the goal, you wrestle and just go.
It's like a washing machine.
Yeah. I was playing it the other night, and then it was this guy, and he just started grabbing me, so I've just started grabbing him back. And then before we knew, we were just grabbing each other and all sorts. That sounds sorry. Grabbing each other, just thrashing each other in the water, and then all of a sudden, ref blows the whistle. And I'm like, that was fun. Now I'll start swimming down the other end of the pool.
Move on. Yeah, made a friend.
Yeah, it's good. I just get in there and chat too. I'm like, so how's your day? They're like, what? I'm like, how's your day going? I was like,
This is why you two get along so well, Aaron. You're very similar in your personalities in that regard. That, Willow and Scarlett are very much on, like they're in there for the kill almost. Whereas Addy just wants to go in and have a bit of fun and make friends and learn some self-defense and learn how to choke her sisters out one day. I think that's a very big, important part for her. What are you looking at, my love?
I'm
You're staring
looking at
stuff.
all the stamps on the wall. And
right.
Caution, stay 100
She's had enough of the chat.
Yeah.
It's all the distractions taken over. Focus.
you've got me off focus now.
Yeah.
Right?
That's it. They've all gone.
Can I ask a question? Because I know for a fact that Connor's had to use his jiu-jitsu for self-defense. But I'll ask this of Addy first. Addy, have you ever used your jiu-jitsu with a bully or anyone that's sort of been a bit rough with you or even just called you names and you've had to like use your verbal jiu-jitsu? Has it ever sort of come to fruition in real life?
I mean, like, if we're in a shopping centre and someone accidentally touches me, I'll, like, look to see if they're trying to do stuff. But I've never really had to use jiu-jitsu or yell out before out in public spaces at all.
I will say, though, with the girls going into shopping centres or things like that, and because we've homeschooled for the last 5 years, certainly in the last 12 months they've had where they've gone in, the three of them together. And to Addy's point just there, there's never been a reservation. There's never been a hesitation. There's always been that sense of the three of us together. And we've quite often joked about, pity the fool who tries to kind of come up against the three of them, because if nothing else, the voices on the three of them would probably pierce eardrums anyway, but they're all very loud, my children. But then the three of them combined, and they've always stuck together. So there's never been a fear amongst them, which I love. And, when Willow was at his age or younger and very early on in her jiu-jitsu journey, she struggled massively with fear. And to the point where Willow would hide in the footwell of the car if the car was parked in front of the shop and Matt had to duck into the shop for a couple of minutes. Scarlett and Adelaide would be on the back seat. Willow would be in the footwell, crying, waiting for Matt to come back because she was so riddled with panic. But the more and certainly with age, this has, she's matured with it and all the rest of it. But jiu-jitsu has been a massive part of giving her that confidence, and that if something happens, I have the ability to at least try. And I've said it all the time. I'm not saying that it's a guarantee, but it's enough to be aware that they can at least try. And so that, I think, watching Addy being the youngest, she not only gets that for herself, but she's also getting it watching her older two sisters go through it as well.
Yep.
Which is empowering, especially, and not taking away from boys or men. I see the importance for that.
Yep.
But for females, I think, Matt said it perfectly on the movie in the follow-up of his black belt. He's giving his daughters the tools to empower them, and that's important.
It must be a really good feeling to go shopping with your sisters and just be able to walk around without that fear. Yeah.
Willow was much older when she started.
Yeah.
Whereas Addy, sorry, wrong child.
Here
we
That's
go.
right. Wow. I get it confused
trouble.
all the time too. It's okay.
Do you get called Flynn a bit?
Oh, yeah. She's like, Connor, Flynn, whatever your name is.
That's pretty much what comes out of my mouth every day. Connor, Flynn, whatever your name is.
She stopped trying for the name. She just says that so she knows she's safe.
I've covered all bases.
Yeah.
That's what Mum does. She's like, Addy, Willow, Scarlett.
Whoever you are.
Or she gets to the point where she's like, 3 Ps.
I like that.
See, yeah, that just nails it for me then. It's like
Please,
3 Ps.
assemble.
Yep, that's it. That's it. That's what I do. Or I just go, ladies. Dung, dung, dung.
Or girls.
I like it when we were out at the singing night that we did, and I called out all the girls, and everyone were playing down on that field, and I've just called girls, and the three of them have turned around and come running up, and you and Matt were like, is it that easy?
Yeah, it works.
Connor, let's pivot to you for a second. What's your earliest memory of having to use jiu-jitsu at school?
Oh, there was just this dude at school. I was probably in like year 3 or year 4 or something, so still pretty young. But he's just like charged at me, and then I've just kind of been like, okay, throw him over my hip, put him on his, laid him out on his back, and then he's gotten up and come at me again, and I've just done it again. And then he's just, I'm like, are you gonna keep doing this? And then the teacher walks over and she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, well, he was charging at me, and I just had to throw him. She's like, okay, you can go. So I got lucky. I got away.
Starts it.
I got away with it.
Yeah.
So that was the first one.
Yeah.
What was the next one?
I can't even remember at this point.
Don't remember.
No.
There was a little boy that didn't want to move, and you asked him to move off a log, and he started to stand up and hit his bag into you, and you just got on top of him and pinned his arms down, and then he started to cry. And then the teacher came over, and you both got a green form or whatever, their names in the book for
you
that one.
You got a naughty.
Even though the other kid was hitting Connor,
Yep.
and all Connor did was pin him down to hold him.
We have said to our kids from day one, because, again, they were in school. We took them out of school for a few years. They've gone back to school. And we have said that it's a no violence policy, and we're 100% with that. If someone touches you, we will back you 100%. Don't start it, but make damn sure you finish it.
It's really interesting because there's a few more instances, and we'll get to them in a second, but in all the times that Connor has had to use his self-defense or his jiu-jitsu, let's call it that,
Yep.
when he's had to use his jiu-jitsu, it's been when the other kid has been more aggressive.
Yep.
And Connor's been able to just control. He hasn't armbarred them. You haven't choked them out. What are you two doing under the desk over there?
Kicking each other.
She started it.
And this is what happens in jiu-jitsu.
I know. But you haven't had to actually put a submission on.
No.
It's been just the aspect of being able to control his body and the other kid's body to just pin them down and hold them until they've gotten, well, usually they end up crying, don't they? Because they that feeling of I'm trapped, I can't get out. They're the bully that started it.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how little they know.
Yeah.
What happened at footy one day?
Oh, this kid was just carrying on. And then
How old were you about?
7 or something. and then just carrying on. I can't even remember at this point what happened, but I've just thrown him. Just throw him.
Just throw him away.
He tried to hit you.
He was just talking crap and doing stuff, and I'm like, all right, on the ground.
But it's the best way, right?
Yeah.
Like, again, don't start it. We're a huge advocate for don't ever start anything. And even now, looking at your mannerism and the way you're reacting to it, and that everything is just calm. It's just, all right, look, if you're gonna come at me, I'm going to defend me. And that's all it comes down to. And we say that to our girls too. Don't start it. Don't ever throw the first. Don't ever, grab first. Don't ever touch first. But don't take it either.
Yeah. And last one, there's been other stories, but this one was really poignant and there was a reason for it as well. But when have you had to use your jiu-jitsu to look after someone else?
Oh, I had a friend at school in year 5 or year 6, and this other kid's just been picking on him, just not letting him go. I'm like, all right, knock it off. He's like, no, and then he's trying to come at me like physically, and so I've just dropped him.
Good.
I dropped a lot of people at school.
What? As in punch them?
No.
Oh, no. As in what? I haven't heard this one. This is actually not the one I was talking about.
No, this is the one you were talking about.
No. I was talking about the one at high school where there was a girl that was getting bashed up by 3 other girls. Can you talk us about that? Because that was actually got caught on video. It was right before the schools all brought in a ban on phones at school.
Yeah.
And so it got put up on the socials, this fight.
Yeah.
And all you see is this jumper come into the view of the camera with Bradshaw written on the back of it. But yeah, tell us that story.
So I was in year 10 at Tumby, and I was just sitting down having the lunch, and then I see these 2 girls, probably year 7, year 8 girls, one of them just starts ripping at this other one, just like putting her on the ground, bags her. You can just see her like crawl up on the ground. The other one's like pulling at her hair, stomping at her. Oh. And so I've had to jump in and try and like split these guys up. And so I'm just in there like holding them apart, just like knock it off. And I think eventually a couple of teachers came down and pulled them apart properly. But it was just like, you're just going at each other for no reason. As far as I can see, just causing this massive scene. Now people are having to jump in and stop this.
Why did you step into it?
I just felt comfortable doing it. And I suppose that cuts back to before about what we were saying about how it's helped. And this is what I've said to everyone, I was comfortable going in there to try and split it up. And I understand why not everyone would, because you don't want to, one of the main rules is you don't put yourself in danger.
Yep.
And so I understand completely, and why people wouldn't just put themselves in that situation if they're not comfortable. But I felt comfortable enough where if I go in there, especially because as well, I was probably about twice their size. I was 90 kilos at the time and just like working out. And then I felt comfortable. Like if they started hitting at me, I wasn't going to take it too badly.
Yeah.
But even if it was beyond that, it's like I felt comfortable enough to where if it got out of hand, I could back myself up.
Because you'd been in jiu-jitsu for so long and you knew the ground rules.
100%,
yeah. Which is another massive thing, right?
He's underselling it. Hugely.
He's undersold the whole episode this far, sitting there all quiet.
It's really interesting because he came home and he was like, there was this thing that happened at school today and these girls were fighting and, it was really bad and teachers came in. I was like, oh, what did you do? He goes, I sort of like told them to get away from me. Like he didn't tell me too much. And then I got a message from one of the mums of our students. Now, at this point, Connor wasn't really training heaps. Mm-hmm. And if he did, he was only coming in to do the adults classes. So he had no connection to any of the kids in our academy at the time. He didn't know who they were. He wasn't helping coach kids class or anything like that. And this mum messaged me and said, oh, look, my daughter was involved in a really bad fight today where she was the victim of 3 girls that ganged up on her and they bashed her quite badly. And then she's got a really bad black eye, but she wants to come in and train this afternoon because she's thinks that jiu-jitsu is good for her. She'd only just started. Like, it was a month before. She'd been done like 4 lessons or something. Is it okay if I bring her in even if she's got a black eye? And I went, oh my goodness, please bring her in. And like, we actually, like I said to her, I know you guys pay for once a week. We want to sponsor her so she can train as much as she wants, because, we're sort of, as far as bullying goes and stuff like that, if we hear a story like that, we're pretty open to trying to help the kid. And then about half an hour or 45 minutes later, she sent me another message. She went, what's your son's name? And I was like, oh, Connor. And she goes, I think your son was involved in helping my daughter this afternoon, because I've just been sent the video of it. And she sent me the video. Now, I still have the video somewhere, although I just switched over to Android, so I probably lost it now. But it showed these 2 girls walking in from the side, grabbing this girl by the hair, grabbing her bag, grabbing her shirt, throwing her down, stomping on her head. Like, it was terrible. And it shows about 50 kids standing around, pulling out phones and watching. And there was one kid that went in, and you see him rushing in from the side, and he's holding one girl off with one arm, one girl off with the other arm, and he allowed the girl to get back up on her feet. Yeah. And at this point, he's still in there holding these girls away from this victim while teachers start rushing in, and then the crowd closes in, and that was the end of the video. And I was so impressed because he undersold it to me so much. Like, it was like, I was almost like, what did you do about it? Like, you could have done more. And when I watched this, I was like, oh my God, he did everything.
He did it.
You saved her, because that could have been really bad. Like, they started stepping on her head.
She only came away with a black eye. Imagine what she would have come away with had you not have gone in and done what you did.
Yeah. That was super impressive. And when you look about the confidence that it gave you to know that you could step in and help, but also the physical attributes you have because of a lifetime of jiu-jitsu. Yeah. You were 90 kilos fit, athletic guy because of the lifestyle that you had led since you were 4 years old.
But I think there's a little bit more to this too. You've seen something unfold, and without even probably consciously or cognitively realizing or sitting there and really processing, in those microseconds leading into it, all of your training in your brain has also kicked in for you to make an assessment, viability of you being able to go and step in and then physically do what you've needed to do. So all of your training in jiu-jitsu is not just arm, leg, torso, bum muscle memory. It's brain muscle memory too. And it's allowed you that quick thinking process to make that assessment, And I think any parents, because we've made it G-rated, that are listening to this episode need to understand it's such an important part of the process. This doesn't just teach you how to fight. This teaches you how to control, to assess, to make judgment calls. Do you think you would have got in amongst those 2 girls had you not had, at that point, 6, 7, 8 years worth of jiu-jitsu in your background?
Couldn't say, probably not. As I said before, it's all about if you're comfortable enough to go in. Like, you don't want to go in expecting yourself to get hurt. Like, that's just, you got to look out for yourself. Yeah.
How about you? What do you think? Do you think you'd go in amongst the middle of a fight? Please say no. Please say no. Please say no. You're far too young.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, not at this age. I know jiu-jitsu, but not as much as Connor or Rachel or Grant or Flynn or you or Dad or anything.
Well, thanks for throwing us in there.
You're welcome.
Even though she's been training longer than
I know. She actually does know more than me.
Anyway. Okay. I'm also not as strong as other people.
Yet.
Yeah, and plus I don't think anyone at my school would break out into a big fight and stomp on other kids' heads, and there's teachers everywhere. Yeah. Like, as soon as you look to the left, there's a teacher. You want to go to a bathroom, there's a teacher following you. Or there's a teacher already. Creepy.
It's okay. What
school are you going? No, don't put that up.
And they don't follow you into the bathroom, just to clarify.
because the bathrooms are like, so there's the locker rooms and there's like a wall and then a ramp. They'll wait out the front of that wall there.
Yeah. So they just got eyes everywhere all the time.
And
that's really cool.
Cameras, not in the bathrooms, but pretty much everywhere else.
Yeah.
I got cameras. And there's also the teacher and I forgot what it was called. SLA. So that's pretty cool.
So tell me, we were talking this morning about, I was asking you about your relationship with Connor. And what did you say to me when I asked you why, like, how does it all break down? What did you say about the Bradshaw family? How did you break that all down?
I have Connor.
Yep.
Scarlett has Grant.
Yep.
And Willow has Flynn.
Yep. And what did you say about Rachel?
Oh, where do I fit?
Yeah, wait for it.
Rachel has everyone and everyone has Rachel.
That was how she broke it down. Yeah?
You know what we have to do? The game.
The game. Yeah. But I want to know, what is it about Connor that makes him your favourite?
He's
I'm the
fun.
favourite.
Yeah. Well, you're her favourite, absolutely. You're her favourite. It goes dad, Connor, mum.
At least you made the top 3.
Yeah.
He's fun to be around. You're fun to be around.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's a good coach as well, so that's cool.
Makes it all right.
Yeah, and he just does stuff with me that I enjoy.
Yeah. She actually said today that she feels seen by you, which is pretty awesome.
Well, she's just funny.
She is quite funny.
Yeah.
You're a bit reserved today. I'm actually quietly impressed that you haven't sworn on the podcast.
No, she's all right.
She's done well.
Oh, so you've just given it away.
Oh, well, yeah. It wasn't really all that hard. Come on, you've listened to Connor speak. He's so polite.
I'm polite too, in other ways.
Yes, in other ways. That's very true. All right, so Addy's really keen to play this game because I let her have a practice run.
Oh, okay.
Connor's going in a bit blind here.
Do we all get to play, or is it just them two?
It's just them two. So I want to see how it all goes. This is either going to be really successful and hilarious or an absolute fail. So we're going to see. Right. So you two are going to have a conversation, and the conversation is a role. You are only allowed to use Jiu Jitsu terminology, and you are to start with something like, I'm standing up and I have taken you down with a single leg. And then you have to respond. And I want to see how well, because one of the things that I struggle with in jiu-jitsu is terminology.
Yep.
It's understanding the language, and it is such an important part of the art. And so I want to show from the 19-year-old to the 11-year-old, so our oldest in the crew to the youngest in the crew, how well the language gets embedded in. So on your marks,
Who starts?
Connor can start.
Oh,
On your marks, get set, go.
shake hands and bump fists.
I try to take you down.
With
Single leg.
Yeah, she takes me down. I'm on the bottom.
I get on mount and then I armbar you.
That was quick.
All right, hold on. Run it back.
What do I start now?
Yep.
Or okay, slap bump, go.
Yeah, I get you with a flying triangle and shake you out. Yeah, that's how I feel.
I could have just started with the armbar, bro, but I didn't. I kept
It's
it going.
Flying armbar.
Oh my god, bro!
you've tapped, off you go.
Hang on, I think you shouldn't be able to just assume you've got this submission.
Yeah.
You- Sorry.
You
It's
can
a bit
like
of a fight.
get back up on top. Or you could be like, oh, I tapped, and then we restart. Or you could be like, well, then I got back on top.
There you go. All right, ready? That was a practice run.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it.
Well, here's
Okay.
what usually happens with Addy and I. I'll tap, or she'll tap out. I'll go to back off, and she'll just jump on top. So
Oh, so you do the fake tap.
yeah, there's no
Brazilian tap.
rules. There's no rules with Addy. She's just like, you tap, I'm coming at you, bro. What do you mean stop? No.
All right, one more round. Let's try
Okay.
again. Ready? You go.
Shake hands and bump fists.
I take you down with a drop sanagi.
Which one's that?
That's the one that Flynn loves.
Oh, yeah. So I'm on my back. Okay, I'm going to scramble and get my open guard, my feet on your hips, and just
I'm going to do dirty feet.
dirty feet.
Get on side control.
I'm going to sit up, grab your leg and try and just buck you down.
Hold on. I'm trying to picture that. Hold up.
Like if I'm here, sit up.
Yeah, no, okay. So, wait, where are you now?
On top with your leg, I think.
What?
How did you get there if she's in side control?
She was in side control.
I was in
Yeah,
she
Jada
went
into
side
side control.
Oh,
You're
I
not
missed
listening.
You broke the game.
Connor.
Okay.
So I'm bottom
This
of
is
side.
what you do in a roll, isn't it?
He checks out.
What do you mean I'm on the bottom of side control? Who did I get here? Okay, bottom of side control. I'm going to hip out and get my guard back.
I'm gonna break your guard and stack you.
And stack me. Oh,
Yep.
You got a mean stack. I'm really uncomfortable. I'm gonna... Oh, I don't know. I might just grab you by your lapels and throw you over my head.
All right. So are we just both laying down now?
Yeah, just like...
Yeah, that's that moment where you go flying over and we
Yeah.
hear that whee smack.
We're just both laying there. Just
Okay.
Staring
so
at
then
the stars.
I quickly run and then I get back onto triangle and crossface you. Sorry, not triangle. Oh God. Side control. Yeah.
Okay.
And crossface.
Crossface.
Yeah, you also have a mean crossface.
So does Willow.
Yeah,
That one
Willow,
hurt.
don't get me started on Willow.
Everyone's terrified of
I
Willow's
get nightmares
crossface.
from that. I can't go to sleep at night because I'm afraid I'm going to wake up and just feel the shoulders.
It's kind of a Paige thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's got the bony shoulder that
Oh,
just
yeah.
almost like gives you down chill treatment as well.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas like everybody else is just a little
A
bit
bit
more like
rolled.
softer
Yeah.
in their shoulder.
Because you get those people who are, like when we were doing the baseball bat choke class the other night, I was with someone who had really bony wrists.
Oh.
And so he'd lock it up, and then as he'd go, it's just like straight in the side of my throat. I'm like, this is fun.
So you're on top side control again.
Yeah, crossface.
Yeah, crossface.
Crossface, all right.
This
So
time
where
I'm
are you
going to
going?
hip out and take the back.
Okay. How do I get out of back? Let's say I got rid of your arms and I turn myself around so I'm in your guard now.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to go.
No! I was actually talking to Mum about that before, and I said, well, then I get Connor in my guard, and then I go.
Yeah. For the listeners at home, this whole situation arose one time when I think it was a teenagers class. So, was it teens or was it kids?
I think it was kids.
It started in kids, but the same week I did it in teens because I had to coach teens that week. Basically what it is, so it's when you're in the triangle and you grab their rear. Oh, you're in guard, sorry, and trying to go for a triangle, but you got to get one arm in, and so you grab their wrist and you milk. We used to call it milking the cow. Like you go back and forth with it, like back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. But instead of saying milking the cow, that's when you go with it. You grab their arms and you go back and forth.
And then when they're distracted, you got to throw one of their arms in.
Well, it's advantageous because they're distracted by the like they're wondering. He's like, why is this kid doing this? Like, is he
Special.
What are you doing, man?
pump his
Yeah,
head
you
as a
good?
kid or like
Did you get thrown against the wall?
yeah?
Something?
And
Is
so
that what happened to you, Addy?
Maybe.
they're so focused on the do that they're not realizing they're getting choked out. So
I just realised you actually do that.
yeah,
You do that to me too. You go do 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 do.
it's become habit. I don't. It's when I don't think about it, I just do it, and it's like.
That's how you know before you even realise
Yeah,
that you're
it's
about
like,
to go for a triangle.
Oh, I'm getting a
But for
triangle.
people that don't know what that is, they'd be so confused on what
Yeah.
they were doing, and then they would go from to you're in
Yeah.
a triangle.
I wonder if you'd get disqualified, producer Matt, at like
In
a
comp.
federation comp for doing do 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 do.
Depends on how loud you did it and whether or not the
Yeah.
ref heard you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can get like
Yeah.
put in the naughty corner for
For
talking to your
talking,
opponent
yeah,
and
that's
stuff
right.
like
I
that.
didn't get
so-
into trouble when I was.
No, but you were being lovely, so the ref kind of gave you a free pass.
I
on
don't,
that
I don't
one,
think it was a federation comp
Yeah.
either. It was a grappling industries or a
Yeah.
Yeah. The other good part
jiu-jitsu.
about it is for the kids that know about it. they know what's coming.
Yeah.
It's a reminder.
Yeah, it's not just the kids either. Like Addy does that to me just before she does that to me as well.
Yeah.
So there has been a number of occasions rolling with Addy where all of a sudden I've heard this. Do, 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 do.
Yeah.
He's like, what? If you turn into
And
a
there
robot.
it is, yeah. And it comes on. I will say I'm very impressed with the language that goes through. So I'm just going to split it equal there and say you're both very good.
Good game.
There you go. Good game.
I know, I
Thanks,
completely
Amy.
forgot we were doing
I
that.
like this
Yeah,
game.
no.
I reckon we should introduce it into our
Yeah,
episodes.
guess.
No, you and me.
Oh, I'll
Let's
fail
have a
every
roll.
time.
Let's have a verbal roll.
A verbal
I love
roll.
to hear that though. This is what's gonna
I
happen.
can tell you
I'll
what
have to do.
happens, Addy. Mum gets on top side control
Yep.
and I just wish for death.
My favourite position in the whole wide world. And I make a beeline for it every time.
I know it's coming.
I'm trying.
It's like Connor's triangles. I know at the start of every round with him, it's going to go through a bit of back and forth. He'll let me get to a slightly good position before he'll flip it. He'll get on top side control into S mount. He will wrap me up, give me a kiss on the forehead and take my back. And then then try and choke me out. Usually now I'll spin inside of his guard.
Yeah.
And then he'll triangle me. That's our role
So it's
every single time
guaranteed.
since he was about 13 years old.
You know what? You're going to mix it up a bit now and do something different just to shock her.
Okay.
Yeah. And I want to hear all about it.
Yeah, okay.
What's your favourite position? I don't know that noise is a position.
It's a new
Yeah.
thing. It's a new
Anything.
thing.
It depends. I like when I play, it's just I'll get in guard and just kind of sit there and try and muck around there. But if I'm like go, like
Yep.
if I'm just chilling and someone starts coming at me hard, I'm like, oh okay, I'll step it up. I'll just get on mount and just like pressure.
Oh, yeah. Pressure's good. I like pressure. Gi or no gi?
Okay.
What's your favourite position, Addy?
Just like any.
Yep.
I like back because in gi I learned this one. This one's my favorite. You go over their neck, you grab your gi, and then you lean back, and it chokes them. I love doing
Yeah,
that.
we did that the other week. I was around.
That was a
fan
good
of
one.
that. Yeah.
I'm a fan of
Yes.
that one.
Gi or no gi?
Gi.
Gi?
I can no gi's fun, and I'm a lot cooler when I'm rolling. I'm not as hot, and I don't get as irritated. But gi, I know a lot more, and I can do a lot more with the grips and actually being able to grab the gi because you're not allowed to grab belts or you're not allowed to grab rashes or anything, and I can do a lot more.
So
Yeah.
I do want to ask a question too, because I know a lot of mums and dads will see UFC, they'll see martial arts as a violent thing or whatever. I just want to know, have you ever been so hurt that you couldn't get back on the mats?
No?
Have you ever been so hurt that you couldn't get back on the mats?
Don't think so, no.
And you've been training 14 years?
Yep.
You've been training 7 years? So for all that we sit here and we talk about choking and grabbing and, doing all this and everything, we have 2 of our kids sitting in the room right now giving first-hand accounts of their jiu-jitsu journey. They've never been injured. This is not a sport that you come into and you're afraid of. Are you afraid to get on the mats and roll with people?
No.
Do you only roll with children your age?
No, I roll with Little and him. Yeah, he's scary. And sometimes
I'm scary, am I? Okay, we need a roll next time.
but also too when I'm doing the women's class, there's no one my age. Everyone's, I'm not going to say a lot older than me, but everyone's older than me.
Yes.
Yes.
But you roll with everybody in that women's class.
Yes.
That's because I let you in special.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm lucky.
But you also have rolled with other adults on the mats as well in
Yeah,
different occasions. It hasn't just been,
And older teens.
And
stuff
older
like
teens,
that.
yeah.
Like Louis and
yeah.
Declan and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And especially when I used to sit out on the chairs before they had the bleachers. Or when they had the bleachers too. When I would just sit out for when it was the adults class, I would also ask if people like you or mum or Rachel or
Yep.
anyone if I could roll with them, and they'd all go easy and they wouldn't hurt me or
Yep.
anything. So
And you've also travelled to a lot of other gyms across different places and everything as well. Have you ever been afraid to go into a kids' class of a gym where you know zero people?
not afraid, nervous. Like I knew that I could get hurt, but I never did. Everyone was gentle and friendly and kind, and they all took very good care of us, and it was awesome. Like obviously I was going to be nervous. I'm going into a new place and I know no one, but they're all really kind and nice.
Yep. And what about you? Have you travelled around and gone into different gyms and trained?
Bits and pieces. Like if we ever go away, we'll usually, especially up to the Gold Coast, because we know a couple of guys up there, we'll go up and bring our geese and train there.
Ever been injured? You trained at Foster as well?
Yeah, at Foster. There was one time, I think, that I went into a gym up on the Gold Coast, and I was probably maybe 13, 14 at the time. Yeah. So still young. And I was rolling in that adults class, and this one guy's just been like, go, go, go. And it's just like, he was purple belt and probably competed a lot. It was just like, just a lot, I think. Yeah. I didn't get injured or anything. It was just like...
hectic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't enjoy it.
But that wouldn't stop you. I mean, for parents listening out there, it's not a violent sport. It's not, you know.
That was one instance. And even then, he was still looking after me. He was just like... And Dad always talks about it. He's like, he just like knows how good you were and was just trying to
meet the intensity.
Yeah, even though I was just like on holidays trying to like la 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 la. He just brought it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
but
you obviously held your own. Otherwise, he wouldn't have. So.
Yeah, but like that wasn't dangerous. It was just intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was all safe. Like everything he was doing, he'd look after me and that. So
yeah. Which I think is such an important part of this episode too, because, you know, yes, our kids have to do jiu-jitsu. Your kids have done jiu-jitsu because it's a part of the family thing, right? But we're parents first and foremost. We are not in jiu-jitsu and therefore dragging our kids along because jiu-jitsu is more important to us than our children. That is not the case. So, for, you know, if
on the contrary, we love our children so much, we want them to have this.
That's right.
That's actually what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so, you know, I know that there's going to be a lot of parents listening to this that are already doing jiu-jitsu or their kids are already doing jiu-jitsu. And to any parents out there that are in that boat, if your kids are hesitant or starting to wane towards maybe not for me, please second guess it. Please give some thought that, you know, yes, okay, you can get injured riding a bike down the street, for God's sake. So this is fundamentally and surprisingly for me, because it's not something I've ever thought about regarding it as, but it really is the gentle art. And so I think you guys are... Stop playing Tootsies under the table.
Yeah, that's weird. Stop it. Addy, have you ever wanted to quit?
No.
Never ever?
With jiu-jitsu? No, I've never wanted to quit. No. I've heard other people were at GB like, my parents are making me do this. Like, are you crazy? This is amazing. Just always wanting to like do jiu-jitsu because I always found it as an interesting and a self-defense, but also fun, and people take care of you but also challenge you.
Yeah.
So
and this is your number one sport that you do? You don't do anything else?
No, I don't do anything else.
Connor,
not sport-wise.
Have you ever wanted to quit?
No.
Just not.
Never?
Yeah, all right.
Never? No. Okay.
You've taken breaks, but you've never wanted to walk away from it completely and utterly.
No.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt like you're not good enough?
Like at jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. Have you ever felt like just down and out?
There are some people in the teens class that like I feel like I go with and I feel like I'm not good, so they're getting a bad role, but that's like only a couple of times and stuff. But that's why I pick Summer, because she just started back, and Hunter and Willow and Scarlett and Declan, but other people, they'll come up to me, and like if they come up to me, then that's their fault.
maybe they're coming up to you because they think you're a good role for them.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that?
I don't know.
Glass is half full sometimes, my love.
You're a very technical jiu-jitsu kid. Like, I would not be thinking that at all. You're awesome to roll with, and you're a lot of fun to roll with. That's why they'd be coming and picking you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How about you? Have you ever had moments where you just think, what am I doing?
Not really. I think because I was doing it, so maybe when I was younger, like real young.
Yeah.
When I was first doing it. But aside from that, not really. Because I'd come up young, and so it kind of came through.
It's like it's in your DNA.
A little bit, yeah.
We had this thing recently. We talked about it on the podcast where we did a team tournament at the academy. There were 4 teams of how many
the quintet
people? 5 people. Was it? Or 4 people?
It started as 4, then changed to 5.
Right. I had a lot of, and you were in it. You were in one of the teams.
Yep, finalist.
Yeah.
And how was that experience? Because that's probably the first time you've put on that competitive hat in jiu-jitsu for a long time.
Yeah, like a lot of people came up to me after that and was like, I'd never seen you go so hard. Like, and even Dad would tell me, he's like, these people would come up to me saying that was good. But yeah, that was like, it was a good competitive release, like, because I don't compete much anymore. And so that was good just to get it out and just like.
You were on fire that night.
Especially when I rolled against my father. That was built up rage.
Because you guys were in different teams.
Rage.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah. You told me to put the bins out, damn it. Take it back now.
Grant will often say that no one comes at him like harder than what Connor does in the academy. Like
that's his fault. When I was younger, he said that we'd have computer matches.
Oh, that's right.
Which was, we'd roll, and he said, if you can beat me in this computer match, I'll buy you your first computer. And so that was like competitive against him. I'm like, computer match? He's like, okay. And he'd always towel me up in like 2 minutes. Like he'd proper me. He did not want to buy me that computer. So.
Did you ever win? Did you ever get the computer?
It was New Year's Day.
Ooh.
I think. It was during like the Christmas period. And I think it was in the morning, and I'm fairly certain he had a bit of a night beforehand, which is why I knew how to go in, because he was going to be disoriented. So I went in. I was probably 13 or 12.
And you got to call them, didn't you?
Yeah.
It was up to Connor to call,
like
this one's a
computer.
computer match.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it all the time. I'd maybe do it like once every 2 weeks or something.
I think it was more frequent than that.
Maybe.
It was definitely weekly.
Once a week, maybe.
If not daily.
I didn't want to do it too much. But,
Yeah.
Anyways, it was over the Christmas period. It was an open mat. It was one of the morning ones. I'm like, let's go. He's like, okay. And then I can't even remember. I think I armbarred him or something. I'm like, yes! Yeah! And everyone else is looking about like, what's this kid doing? I'm like,
I get a computer.
Yeah.
Forget it. No, it'll never happen.
If you try hard enough, Addy.
No, you know.
I feel like I'd have a good chance with you though, not Dad.
Yeah.
Dad, no.
That's fair.
Dad's a no.
That's fair. Yeah, Willow can pretty well hand me my tushy. Jimmy, see, look at me go. G-rated. I gotta keep thinking G-rated. I know, tushy. Tushy's allowed. Come on, I guess it's far worse.
Like what?
No, I'm going to throw a pencil at you.
You're going to get her in trouble.
Child abuse, Mum. You'd get cancelled.
Well, not really, because he's almost 19.
Yeah.
He's an
not
actual
to-
adult.
Yeah.
It would be child abuse if she threw it at you.
Yeah.
If she kicked your tushy.
But that's okay. Do you know what happens? There's an editing process
Yeah,
to
that's
this.
right. We just cut it out. No witnesses.
What if I just saved that little piece that got cut out and here's some evidence?
Never. All right. So I want to ask one last question before we move on to Hope, if I may, unless, Rach, you've got anything else.
I've got one
as
last
well?
question,
Okay, cool.
unless
So-
you take it. It's all
okay.
good.
All right. I just want to know and give a little bit of thought too, so we can definitely come back to this. If a family with some kids was standing in front of you today and the mum came to you and said, I want to know, should my kids do jiu-jitsu? And if yes, why? What would you say? Go for it.
Just put the hand up. I'm ready.
I'm in school.
The school's kicking in.
Yeah.
Yes, they definitely should. It's a good self-defense thing, and it's a great self-defense thing. Like if anyone was to approach them, said something, did something that wasn't right, grabbed them, did anything, then they would know how to react instead of just getting picked up and taken and stuff. And they would know how to like deal with it properly. So if it was really bad, they'd know how to throw them down to the ground. But if it wasn't that bad, they'd know how to just defend themselves. Like if they were grabbed around the neck, you put your helmet on you and you duck out and you whack them with your elbow.
You're right. Yeah.
That's a good one. But if they didn't do it, they wouldn't know how to do anything. They'd get choked out, they'd get thrown to the floor, or they'd get taken away and they'd get really hurt and just, yeah. And if there was no one around to help them, then that would be really bad for the child.
Fair. What about you?
Well, yeah, do it. I just find it's fun. But aside from that, the reason I've always stuck with it is that's especially teenage years, was the self-defense aspect. Just knowing I can handle myself if whatever comes my way. So.
And I collectively too, even an 11-year-old and a 19-year-old can find a friendship in this community. Yeah. And I think that is super important. You know, if people learn nothing from today, learn that there's no discrimination in Jiu Jitsu.
Yep. And
I think that's huge. What's your question?
Well, I was further to that point. Like I know for Connor, or for us as a family too, bringing our children up in a community where you've had Theo and Dicko and really good people around you, who have been able to mentor you and roll with you. How has that been for you?
It's great. It's role models.
And what's interesting to me is he's had such beautiful role models that he's now able to step into those shoes and role model to this next generation coming through. And that's what I see here. But my question actually was, I just wanted to put it both to you and look to the future. Can you imagine that this is something that you will just keep doing into the future, even when, Connor, you're probably a little bit closer to this, but even when if you're imagining yourself, in years to come as a mum and dad, bringing your kids into jiu-jitsu, is this something that you would consider keeping going for you and your family going forward? I'll start with you, Addy.
Yay.
She likes going first.
I know.
I do. So I'll stick with it for a while and I'll make my children do it. It's because it's a good self-defense thing and I always won't be around them. Like if they went to a friend's house, they'd know how to do stuff and protect themselves and everything. And they don't have to like it, but I would tell them you'd have to find something to do, jiu-jitsu or like a defense thing that you know to do. So, yeah.
Awesome. What about you, Connor?
Yeah, I think I'd stick with it. Yeah. Even if I moved or something and it was a different academy, I would. As given that it was like a good environment, because you don't want to move to another academy if it's like either like not your vibe kind of thing. Like your vibe is very important in jiu-jitsu about where you train and the people you know there.
Yeah. Don't move. You're not allowed to. But what about like can you imagine like when it's time and this is not going to happen for at least another 10, 12, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, keep going, Grandma.
I have something to tell you, Mum.
What's the rules? Every time he goes out the front door, what's the rules?
Don't add to the population. Don't subtract from the population and make good choices.
Thank you. When you're a dad, because one of my goals and my goals for jiu-jitsu is I want to be on the mats as a grandma rolling with my grandkids. Like I want to still be doing jiu-jitsu for that long that by the time you and Flynn start having children and they're 4 years old and they're on the mats, that I can actually still get down and do jiu-jitsu with them. Do you think it's something that you would introduce your kids to?
I think so. I'd give them the option, same as what Addy said. It's like you got to do something. Doesn't matter. Like you got to do A, I think sport's really important because it's good for social development, physical development, emotional development. But just as long as it's something, and I think jiu-jitsu is I'd say, jiu-jitsu is good. Like, here's this thing, you should maybe try it. But if they like, it's everyone, each to their own. Like, not everyone likes jiu-jitsu, not everyone likes footy, not everyone likes soccer. Like, there's all sorts, like, different people enjoy different things. And so if it's not something they necessarily love and they'd rather be doing something else, I'd support that. But I'd definitely show it as a good option.
Yeah.
And encourage them at least to take the self-defense aspect of it.
That's okay. They'll love grandma. They'll want to be hanging out with grandma anyway, so they'll be on the mats. You don't have to worry about that. Grandma's got you covered. It's all good.
It's always something that I've thought of is that, you know, there's sport, there's things like football, water polo, team sports, you know, anything like that. That to me is like your social development, your peer development, stuff like that. Then there's the things that save you.
Yeah.
Swimming lessons and jiu-jitsu. And, you know, we live on the east coast of Australia. We live 2 minutes from a beach. You know, you were never going to go without swimming lessons. And so you did swimming right up until you got to the point of your next step would have been squad. And you're a water baby, like that was easy as. Yeah. And you play water polo. I have no dramas about you ever going into the water. But I also don't have any fear that, you know, on a Friday night when you go out to Terrigal, that you're not going to be able to not look after yourself too. Yeah. So for me, giving you the gift of swimming lessons and jiu-jitsu as a parent just makes my life so much more at ease and without worry, because I know that you can look after yourself in any of those aspects.
It's as important as educating kids.
Yeah, I believe
you
so
know,
too.
like we make it mandatory to teach you English, maths and science, but we don't make it mandatory to teach you how to protect yourself.
Yeah.
I don't get that. I really don't. But anyway.
All right.
I do want to say one thing though. You made a comment about the mentors that Connor and Flynn have been able to come up with. And I do have to say that is probably the one thing that I am so very grateful for in this sport as well, because from day dot we've had the Rona Rats, and Addy can go through and name pretty much all the guys that have been a part of our family, and now the adults in Iconic as well. Our 3 kids get on those mats and they can pick a man that's 50, 40, 30, 20 and a female that's 50, 40, 30, 20 and go and roll, and we will never bat an eyelid. But those people, the Rats, you know, there's special people at Iconic too, will come to our home and engage and muck around in the pool with our kids, and there's just that sense of belonging.
Yep.
And you say it all the time, it takes a village to raise a kid. Yep. We are so fortunate that we have a village through and through around our 3 Ps. And we've got that because of jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
So.
And that's all we ever tried to do with Iconic, because our coach was an hour and 20 minutes away. When we opened Iconic, we wanted to create a vibe and a community that we would be proud to bring our boys up in as well. So, you know, the culture that we have is because we've built this for Connor and Flynn.
Yep.
That's what we've done.
Makes a huge difference.
Yep.
I have a question for you, Rach.
I would love to answer it.
How did you guys come up with the name Iconic?
That's a really good question. So first of all, we opened and we called our gym, our coach's gym name, which was Best and Gracie, right? Because his name's Best and Gracie. But we added Central Coast to it because we were only one night a week, and we never thought for a million years that we would grow the way that we did. And when we decided that we would actually really try and make a real go of creating this business and growing this business into a full-time academy, we had a conversation with our coach, and he was like, you should come up with your own name and you should come up with your own logo and identity and stuff like that. You'll always be under me, but, you know, like you should have your own identity. So Grant actually wanted to call us High Tide for a long time because, as you know, his favourite quote is, a high tide raises all ships. But I felt that the name High Tide Jiu Jitsu was a little bit wishy-washy. Like
I just want to confirm that I was just laughing then because as you were saying it, Addy was lip syncing it.
Yeah, because we say it all the time.
It's written on the
It's written on our
I just love
wall.
the fact that you knew exactly what it was.
And that's what I said. I was like, that could be our motto, but I don't feel like it's a really strong name for an academy. And we were sitting around one night with friends and they were asking us about our name and stuff like that. And I was saying I wasn't really happy with it, and but we had no other option, so we're probably going to go with it. And they said, well, tell us about your jiu-jitsu. Who's your coach? And we were saying how our coach, Luke Beston, was probably one of the best kept secrets in Australian jiu-jitsu. And they were like, and who's he under? And we said, Hoist Gracie. And my friend said, and who's Hoist Gracie? Because, if you're not in jiu-jitsu, you just don't know. And I said, he's probably the most iconic representation of jiu-jitsu. And Grant and I have just looked at each other and went, iconic jiu-jitsu. So when we say we are iconic, it's not that we think we're iconic, but it's where our roots are from. And our roots come from Alio, Hoist Gracie, Luke Beston. They are iconic, and that makes us iconic. So that's where the name Iconic Jiu-Jitsu come from.
How'd you come up with the logo?
Grant was at a pub and he had a napkin and he was
the day
drawing.
Before you got the computer?
I don't know, probably. And he was drawing and he was sort of doing the I and a back-to-back J, and then he put like a little arrowhead on top. So it's got that symbol of being the triangle, which is the universal symbol of jiu-jitsu is the triangle shape.
An iconic move, if you will.
Yeah, there you go. And it's an I with a back-to-back J.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so there you go.
We always used to say it looked like the Deathly Hallows symbol from Harry Potter.
It does a little bit.
Yeah, you're just missing the circle.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Harry Potter, so I have to go and have a look it up now.
A lot of people said that when we first did it, yeah.
My theory was, like, when you were doing the triangle, like, your marker or paintbrush or something stopped working at those bits where there was the holes, and then once you got to the top or the bottom, you sneezed and you just went down. You're like, wow, that looks really cool.
You were thinking that's how it came
Yeah, that was my theory.
I sneezed. That's how
It
we
was
got
an
our logo.
iconic sneeze.
So to our beautiful guests today, do you guys have any questions or anything you'd like to say before we trip into Hope?
What's Hope?
I'll tell you in a second.
How do you like jiu-jitsu?
I love what jiu-jitsu brings to my family. I have always loved what jiu-jitsu brings to my family. Jiu-jitsu and I have a very intimate love-hate relationship more often than not. But I am grateful that I finally found my drive in jiu-jitsu. So, in that regard, it's the beast that I am forever going to want to try and tame.
How about you?
I love jiu-jitsu for what it does for me and how it keeps my family close. I feel like my relationship with my 2 teenage sons wouldn't be as close if we didn't get to go down on the ground and wrestle around and do all of that. As you heard me say before, like the role that I have with Connor, and it happens that way almost every single time we roll, where he wraps me up and gives me that little kiss on the forehead right before he takes my back. I feel like jiu-jitsu as a family, it keeps us really close. And to me, that's been the most amazing gift that has been a side effect. I never would have guessed when we started years and years and years ago that would be the end result. But I feel like, and I'm going to get emotional for the first time ever on this podcast, but I feel like I have a really beautiful relationship with both of my sons. And I feel like my relationship with my husband is better because we all have this mutual thing that we do together. So that's what I love about it.
I think that's beautiful, and I'm so grateful that you made Rach cry on one of our episodes. Thank you very much for that. I'll take that all the way to the bank. But But you are true. I mean, look, you're right. And you are right on so many levels. And for us as well, it is no different. I mean, what family do you know gets to travel? We spent every day together for 5 years and still love each other. And, you know, because we are so connected in something that is so unique, and it's unique to all of us. We're not just there on the sidelines watching them play a game of sport. We're in it. We're living it. We're breathing it with them. So.
You've got a whole mat room downstairs that
we do. We
jump on. And
we're besotted with it so much we even built our own gym.
And during COVID, I was lucky enough to have Connor, Grant and Flynn as my 3 training partners. Every second day we would roll, wouldn't we? And I'd get towelled up. I was the nail for 5 months during COVID.
Do you remember COVID? Do you remember training downstairs with Strawberry and your sisters and J-Mac would come in?
And Dad would teach it all.
Absolutely, you know, and Jiu Jitsu didn't stop for us through COVID. It didn't stop at all. So
I remember when J-Mac used to give us stripes though, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, downstairs in our own gym. Progression didn't stop, learning didn't stop. All right, so hope. HOPE is an acronym that I have tattooed on my arm. We live by it. We live and breathe it. It's pretty much in the forethought of pretty much everything I do. And it stands for help one person every day. And the theory behind it is, you know, it can be something as simple as opening a door for someone and you're helping them. Asking somebody how their day is and really listening to the answer. Buying the person behind you a coffee. That's hope. That's helping somebody who didn't know that they needed it and appreciated it. So every episode we ask guests, and we as well ask, what is our hope? What do we hope people will take away from the episode? And so we go around and we ask each and everyone what their hope is. So Rach, I'll start with you. What's your hope for this episode, lovely?
My hope is that we have parents listening to this episode today whose kids sometimes will arc up at them and go, I don't want to go to jiu-jitsu, or I don't want to do that anymore. It's too hard. I quit, or, you know, any of these reasons that aren't really real reasons. To take something as special and as wonderful as jiu-jitsu out of their lives. Because if kids can stick with it and they can do this long term, number one, it becomes easier. It becomes really fun, but it creates amazing kids. And the kids that we've had come through our academy who have stuck with it, and there's a whole slew of them now who are hitting adults class from when they started at, 6, 7, 8 years old. They are now heading into their 16, 17, 18th year of life. They are confident human beings who can talk to adults, who can mingle with everyone on the mats, all walks of life, from, tradies to doctors and everything in between. They have gone through school getting great academic reports. There is a correlation there between doing something that's jiu-jitsu that takes you out of your comfort zone and is hard and is cognitive, and how that spills over into academic life. There is a connection there between these kids being able to become leaders in their schools. A lot of them have done things like school captaincy or getting up on stage and doing shows and things like that. So I see these connections with these kids that have come through and stuck with it. And what amazing human beings that they are, and confident, capable, self-protective kind of people. Kids that can step in and save a girl who's getting stomped on their head, stuff like that. I wish that more parents would just go, you know what? I know it's hard, and that's why I want you to do it.
That's it.
And stick with it and be cheerleaders and just not give up. I had a kid quit yesterday. The parents signed him up just before Christmas. He loved it. I have to join straight away. He did 3 lessons. Then over Christmas break, parents didn't bring him at all for 6 weeks.
Yep. And
now he doesn't want to come back now. So we'd like to quit the membership. I'm like, the kid didn't even get to know whether he liked it or not. And a lot of that falls on the parents' shoulders. I know it's hard. I know it's most days, kids come home and it's often the parents that are sitting there going, I don't really want to take you to jiu-jitsu today, but we've got to be parents.
Yeah.
And that's where being a parent steps in, and you go, even I don't feel like it, but we're going because this is going to be really good for you.
Yep.
Probably don't verbalize that. Probably say, I'm so excited to see you do jiu-jitsu today. I know it's raining and I know it would be easy to sit on the lounge and not go anywhere and just eat snacks and watch TV, but this is going to be really good for you long term.
Do you let them not go to school?
That's exactly right. Do you let them not brush their teeth?
That's it.
Do you let them not go to the swimming lesson? So to me, it's all part of the same thing. That would be my hope.
Nice. What's your hope, Connor?
Just make it fun. Like, that's all you got to do. Whatever it is you do, whether it's jiu-jitsu or something else, it's got to be fun. Otherwise, you're not going to enjoy it. And you won't want to, and it's back to what Mum was saying. You don't want to turn up if it's not fun, especially as a kid. Like, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, fun. And even me now, I'm like, fun. But if you can, and you can always, like, it's not always in your control. Like, there is times where it'll just suck. But if you can do everything you can to make whatever you do fun, like, you'll want to stick with it. You want to keep going. You want to do the best you can, whether it's sport, school, whatever it is. Like, just fun.
Make it fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
What's your hope, Sleepy?
I think Rach and Connor said pretty much most of it. Just have fun and, be safe and stuff. Like every coach says, stay safe, have fun, just all that kind of stuff. So I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
Very nice. I'm going to throw it a little bit different. I'm going to say to all the parents out there that aren't training and your kids are training, take the opportunity, see the emotion that came out of Rach and what it gave her, who sits very stoic every episode. Because if that wasn't raw and honest and open enough for you to show you what the potentials are to have with your children and the kind of relationships you can have with your children because of this art, I don't.
Mum, you had done so well. Well done.
Good on you, Kaz.
Oh, there it is. I think we'll leave that one in. To anyone that's listening at home, she has done remarkable today to get to this point. Well done, Kaz.
Oh, apologies.
Just let it slip.
I know. You're not mad. You're just disappointed.
We've come full circle. I agree with you. I think that, absolutely, 100%.
Get on the mats, people.
Yep.
Just
do it with your kids.
You don't have to be Craig Jones. You don't have to be a world champion. You don't even have to be good.
You know what? And it's fun.
Yeah, just
It's
get on.
actually fun as adults
Yep.
to be given permission to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of us don't do that. We bogged down by serious life, work, bills, relationships, mum, dad, kids, all these things that go on outside of our lives. And as a fully fledged adult parent, we take life seriously.
Yeah.
I remember years ago someone said to me, never take life too seriously because you're never going to get out of it alive.
That's exactly right. We're all on the same trajectory here, people.
Let's make it. Let's make life fun and let's get on the mats.
Yeah.
Do something with our kids.
That's
have
it.
those relationships.
And look, I will say, I have 3 girls, and girls' relationships with their mums are always hard. That there's always that. Whatever it is. I don't know, push-pull, yeah. But I will roll with all 3 of my daughters. Yeah. And all 3 of my daughters and I, my younger 3 daughters who do jiu-jitsu with me every week, we have a very open, honest, caring relationship. And we still fight. There's still hurdles. I'm not saying that. But my kids will come and give me hugs, and I get to keep something that I think fundamentally gets lost as children become teenagers. Yes. And there becomes that separation. Now, it's not only our family. I see it in your family. I see it, there's a myriad of families in Iconic that train, and the adults train and the kids train, and we know them on and off the mats, and I see it there. I know families, Jason Cat, in America, they've got it with their son, and I know some families over there as well that train with their kids as well, and they still have that amazing relationship with their kids. You two are hilarious. Stop playing footsies under the table.
I'm not doing anything. You started it. I don't
You came at me, bro.
All right, I'm off my rant. But
I'm not
please,
starting it, but I'll sure as well finish it.
You're so funny.
Yeah, I know.
All right, we're done.
All right. Before we finish, let's give Subversion a shout out. So it's so exciting. In a couple of weeks' time now.
22nd of March. 22nd of March.
22nd of March.
22nd of March.
Subversion is on.
Subversion is on. Jaden is on from Iconic, but there are so many amazing matchups there as well. Buy your tickets via moshtix.com.au. They're available there, and we'll leave it at that for a moment. And definitely just support this amazing jiu-jitsu production that gets put on. If you're a local to Sydney, there's no reason not to get your ticket. Go and support. If you've got if you've got fighters, if you've got jiu-jitsu guys and girls who are on the card and you're an academy, go buy the tickets.
People overseas can watch too.
At this time, so we'll come up with some more details with that soon. But yeah, absolutely, there should be something online, and we'll give you more details with that as soon as we can. But absolutely, go buy your tickets. Support this thing as quickly as we can.
Subversion. Look at you two.
me off.
Oh, I would never.
I don't think so.
Righto.
We'll call it quits there. Thank you so much for listening today, guys. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And
don't forget to like and share us.
And let us know if you enjoyed this episode. We certainly enjoyed it. It was, it's one of those things like, do we bring the kids on? But I think they have a lot to say. And
it's almost PG rated.
It's almost, except for it's now PG rated.
Well, I think you're allowed to have one.
You can have one swear word for it to be PG. No. All right, we're out. Have a great week. Bye.
See you guys.
This podcast is a My Broken Soldier production.
And brought to you by Iconic Jiu Jitsu.